Very good morning to all of you. And here I'm back with the lecture series of operating system. And today is the 18th lecture in which we are going to see the techniques involved in non-contiguous allocation of memory, which is demand paging and paging with segmentation. So stay tuned with me and keep on learning. So this is our topic for today. This is the objective of today's lecture to understand what is demand paging and paging with segmentation. Now, quickly, before moving to the further and advanced topics, let us understand in the last classes we have learned what is paging, and then we have seen another technique which is called segmentation, and we have seen the advantages and the disadvantages both of the previous lectures or the previous techniques that we have seen. So now let us just come over to the topic of demand paging because it is actually related to the paging and the segmentation part. So here, if you see, demand paging, as you know, opposed to the anticipatory paging, it is a method of virtual memory management. Virtual memory, we have seen kind of logical memory, right? Now, in a system that uses demand paging, the operating system copies a disk of pages into physical memory only if an attempt is made to access it and that page is not already in the memory, right? Now, it occurs when the page fault occurs, that is page fault. I'll just tell you what is page fault is. So, this demand paging follows that a process begins execution with none of its pages in physical memory, and many page faults will occur until most of a process working set of pages are located in the physical memory. So, this example is known as lazy loading technique. So, first of all, let us understand the basic concept of this demand paging. See, the demand paging actually, it follows that pages should only be brought into the memory if the executing process demands them. Okay, why should we require it? Because it is a memory saving process. It saves your memory. That is why it is always required. So this is often referred to as lazy evaluation, as only those pages demanded by the process are swapped from secondary storage to main memory. Now, contrast to this, to pure swapping, where all memory for a process is swapped from secondary storage to main memory during the process startup. So, commonly, to achieve this process, a page table implementation is used. Right. Now, the page table maps logical memory to physical memory. The page table uses a bitwise operator to mark if a page is valid or invalid. Right. Now, a valid page is one that currently resides in the main memory. An invalid page is one that currently resides in the secondary memory. So when a process, tries to access a page, the following steps are generally followed, right? What steps? Like attempt to access the page. Then if page is valid and it is in the memory, page is in the memory, then we need to continue processing instruction as normal. Process is still. This is basically demand page. Now, according to the concept of virtual memory is keeping all pages of the frames in the second page in the memory, then that page will be found in the secondary Now, if the number of page faults is equal to the number of referred pages, or the number of page faults are so demand paging that it is just similar to paging system with swapping. It is called a lazy swapper, which swaps a page into memory only when it is needed. Then a process is just a sequence of pages rather than a large contiguous address space. We have seen this thing in paging. In demand paging, instead of swapper, the term memory be needed, faster response will be given, generated. So I have told you about page fault, and that page is not in the memory. Then get the page, execute the statement. So when the page you are referring to is not existing in the memory, we say that page fault has occurred. And in case of page fault, what do we have to do? The CPU has to go inside the disk or the secondary memory to search out for a particular program, and it brings back it into the main memory. So this is what happens. Needs to be stored in the secondary. See, system will make you are the steps in handling page fault. See, the process has touched a page which is not currently available in the memory, right? Now, for that, what do we have to do? We have to check an internal table for the target process to determine if the reference was valid, right? So we have to check that whatever page we are referring to is a valid page or it is not valid, like if it is invalid, if it is not existing in the main memory. So if it was valid but page is not resident, then we need to get it from the secondary storage. So this is what happens. We call it page fault. Now in this case, what do we have to do? We have to find a page of physical memory which is not currently in use, and it may need to free up a page. What do we have to do is we need to schedule a disk operation to read the disk. Now, as we have seen the paging earlier, see, there was a major limitation of the single level paging. Now, a big challenge with single level paging is that if the logical address space is very large, then the page table may take up a lot of space in the main memory. For example, consider that logical address is 32-bit and each page is 4 kilobyte. The number of pages in that case will be 2 into 20. So the page table without additional bits will be of the size 20 bits. Now, the solution to this problem is to use segmentation along with paging. Combined merits of both the things will be used to reduce the size of the page table. data segment, the stack segment, and secondly we'll have the page number, and thirdly the offset will be there. Okay, so this is how we'll do the things. Now the memory management unit, which is called MMU, will use this segment table, which will contain the address of the page table, that is the base and the limit. So the page table will point to the page frames of the segments in main memory. So here, see, pure segmentation is not very popular, and uh, not being used in many of the operating systems as well. So, however, segmentation can be combined with paging to get the best features out of the both techniques. So, in segmented paging, the main memory is actually divided into variable size segments, which are further divided into fixed size pages. So, pages are actually smaller than the segments, and each segment has a page table, which means every program has multiple page tables. The logical address is represented as segment number or base address, and the page number and the page offset. So here the segment number is the one which points to the appropriate segment number. Then there is page number which points to the exact page within the segment. And then finally there is a page offset which is used as an offset within the page frame. So each page table contains the various information about every page of the segment. The segment table contains the information about every segment. Each segment table entry points to a page table entry, and every page table entry is mapped to one of the page within a segment. So how does the translation of logical address to physical address is done here in this case? See, the CPU generates a logical address which is divided into two parts, the segment number and the segment offset. Now, the segment offset must be less than the segment limit. Offset is further divided into page number and page offset. Now, to map the exact page number in the page table, the page number is added to the page table base. So, the actual frame number with the page offset is mapped to the main memory to get the desired word in the page of the certain segment of the process. Now, what are the advantages of this segmented paging? See, the very first advantage that I see in this segmented paging is that it reduces memory usage. Obviously, it is reducing the memory usage. Then, page table size is actually limited by the segment size. Obviously, we know this thing. Third is that segment table has only one entry corresponding to one actual segment. Then the external fragmentation is not there. Obviously, it is overcoming with the problem of external segmentation which occurred in segmentation part. And it what does it exactly do? It simplifies the memory allocation. So these are the advantages of segmented paging. Then, what are the disadvantages of segmented paging? Now, first is that internal fragmentation will be there. Then the complexity level will be much higher as compared to the paging part. And then third is the page table needs to be continuously stored in the memory. After this, let us just discuss what is paged segmentation. So, in segmented paging, not every process has the same number of segments, and the segment tables can be large in size, which will cause external fragmentation due to the varying segment table sizes. Now, to solve this problem, we use paged segmentation, which requires the segment table to be paged. The logical address generated by the CPU will now consist of page number 1, segment number, page number 2, and the offset. So, the page table, even with segmented paging, can have a lot of invalid page. Now, instead of using multi-level paging, along with the segmented paging, the problem of larger page table can be solved by directly applying multi-level paging instead of segmented paging. Now, what do we think that the advantages of page segmentation? Now, the very first advantage is that there will be no external fragmentation. Then there will be reduced memory requirement as number of pages are limited to segment size. Then the page table size is it is very smaller, just like segmented paging. And similar to segmented paging, the entire segment need not be swapped out. Then what is the disadvantages of page segmentation? Now, see, when we talk about the disadvantage, as we have seen, external fragmentation has overcome. There is no problem of external fragmentation in page segmentation. But yes, the disadvantages of page segmentation remains here, where internal fragmentation is a problem. Now, hardware is complex than segmented paging, and the extra level of paging at first stage adds to the delay in the memory access. So these are a few disadvantages that we see in the page segmentation. So now just I'm going to quickly recap whatever the techniques we have learned previously. Now we have discussed segmented paging is a scheme that implements the combination of segmentation and paging. First, segmentation divides the process into segments, and then the paging divides each segment into various pages. Now, I have one problem for you for which you have to find the solution. Please understand this question thoroughly. Just think over this and concentrate on the problem that I am telling you. You need to find out the solution for this given problem. So the problem says a certain computer system has the segmented paging architecture for virtual memory. Do listen again. What is the question? A certain computer system has the segmented paging architecture for virtual memory. The memory is byte addressable. Both virtual and physical address space contains 2 raised to the power 16 bytes each. The virtual address space is divided into 8 non-overlapping equal-sized segments. Now, the main memory or the memory management unit, the MMU, has a hardware segment table where each entry of it contains the physical address of the page table for the segment. Now, page table are stored in the main memory and consist of 2 bytes page table entries. What is the minimum page size in bytes so that the page table for a segment requires at most one page to store it? So this is what you have to find out. So in this case, understand we have been given a virtual address space which is equals to the process size and it equals to the 2 raised to the power 16 bytes. Then we have physical address space which is equals to main memory size and it equals to 2 raised to the power 16 bytes. Then the process is divided into 8 equal size segments and the page table entry size is equals to 2 bytes in this case, right? Now let this page size be equal to n bytes. Now since page table has to be stored into a single page, we must have size of the page table which should be less than equals to page size, right? Now what is the size of each segment then? See, it is given by process size divided by the number of segments. So here the process size is 2 raised to the power 16 bytes and the number of segments is 8. So here what we'll be doing, 2 raised to the power 16 bytes divided by 8, which is which if you'll solve, what you'll do, 2 raised to the power 16 bytes divided by 8 will be converted into 2 raised to the power 3. So in that case, if I'll solve this up, I'll be getting 2 raised to the power 13 bytes, which will be equal to 8 kilobytes. So this is what we have as a solution. Now number of pages of each segment, how will we find out? The number of page in each segment is divided, where size of the segment is divided by page size. So 8 KB divided by n bytes here. And this is what the number of pages of each segment will look like. Now what will be the size of each page table? Now size of each page table is equals to number of entries in page table into page table entry size, which is equals to number of pages the segment is divided into 2 bytes. Then again it is equals to 8k divided by n into 2 bytes. And then it is equals to 16k divided by n bytes. Now again, what is the page size in this? So, substituting the values in the above condition, the conditions that we have discussed, we get 16k divided by n bytes, which is less than equals to n bytes. Then 16k divided by n is less than equals to n. Then n square will be greater than equals to 16k and n square is greater than equals to 2 raised to the power 14. Again, here after this n will be greater than or equals to 2 raised to the power 7. So thus minimum page size possible is 2 raised to the power 7 bytes, which is equals to 128 bytes. So this is what we know about segmentation with paging. The only problem that occurs here is the external fragmentation which occurs, right? I have told you this thing that external fragmentation is the one which occurs here because we allocate memory continuously to the processes. Now, due to this, space is left and memory remains unused, hence cause external fragmentation. So, to tackle this problem, the concept of paging was introduced where we divide the process into small pages, and these pages are allocated memory non-contiguously into the RAM. So this is what we have seen in these lectures. I hope the lectures were clear to all of you about what is paging, what is segmentation, what is demand paging. So this is the overall summary in nutshell, that we have seen that demand paging is actually used to get a page into the memory only when it is required, and thus it is saving the memory space. This is how we do it. Okay. So now with this, I am coming up with the end of this lecture number 18, and now I'm quickly taking you over to the MCQ part to understand whatever you have learned in today's lecture. These are the questions we have. Question number one says, in approaches to non-contiguous memory allocation, the memory can accommodate an integral number of pages. It is partitioned into memory areas that have same size as page. So this approach is known as. Second question is, each process consists of fixed size component called segment, page table, pages, or all of the above. Question number three says, in which of the memory allocation techniques internal fragmentation can arise? Is it segmentation? Is it paging? Is it segmentation with paging? Or all of the above? Try to answer them quickly. So I hope you were able to answer all these three questions. Let me take you to the next set of questions. Question number 4, 5. Question number 4 says, which of the following non-contiguous memory allocation approach have component of different sizes so that kernel has to use memory reuse techniques such as first fit or best fit allocation. And then there's question number 5, which says, in Dash, a programmer identifies components in a process called dash in a process. I hope you have seen these two questions. Let me take you to the next set of questions now. These are question number 6, 7, and 8. 6 says, which of the following facilitates sharing of codes, data, and program modules between processes? Segments, page table, pages, or segment table. 7 says, in which of the following memory allocation techniques external fragmentation can arise? And 8 question says, in which of the following memory allocation techniques facilitates sharing of codes, data, and program modules between processes without incurring external fragmentation? Try to answer this quickly. Let me take you to the next set of questions. I hope you all have done this. Now, question number 9 and question number 10. A process is considered to consist of pages numbered from dash onward. And then question number 10. A process is considered to consist of pages where each pages is of size s bytes, where s is the power of. Try to answer this quickly. So with this, I hope you all have done the answers correctly and you were able to answer these questions on the basis of whatever learnings we had in the previous 2, 3 lectures, where we have seen what is paging, what is segmentation, and what is basically demand paging, how page faults occur, and we have seen paging with segmentation and segmented paging as well. So all of these techniques are they are said to be non-contiguous memory allocation, and they all are efficient enough with few errors, or you can say few cons in them. There are some demerits, like few of them have external fragmentation problem, some of them are wasting a lot of memory, some of them have internal fragmentation problem. So there are different demerits which are associated with this, but still after that, they are considered to be far more better than contiguous memory allocation, because in contiguous memory allocation both the fragmentation part occur, like internal fragmentation is there, but even after then external fragmentation also occur in such kind of in fixed partitions. So this is a major drawback when we talk about external or internal fragmentation. So most of the time, what happens is uh, the non-contiguous memory allocation is usually used in operating system to execute your processes. So this is used for external processes when we have to use them. So this is the criteria, and I hope that all of you had a great time learning all these things. And I hope you'll be keep on reading such topics. It will increase your knowledge about operating system. Do some of the numericals also, so that it will make you clear that whatever you have learned, you are able to implement it in given examples. So with this, I am closing this lecture. Stay tuned. Keep on learning with me with more coming lectures. Thank you so much.